The book of James is one of my favorite books of the Bible because it helps as a temperature check, helps me to know and discern what it is that I need to work on and change. And this book is written by James, the brother of Jesus. And in the YouVersion Bible app, you can download for free. It says this in the intro of the book of James. This book begins like a letter because it's being sent to people at a distance, but it's actually not very much like other letters of the time. It is a collection of short sayings and slightly longer discussions of practical topics. The conversational style, the short, pitchy sayings, and the interweaving of themes all make this book similar to the wisdom and writing found in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. So now that we have the background information, let's read the actual word. James chapter 1, verse 19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Those who consider themselves religious yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. So starting with verse 19, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. So I'm just going to start off by highlighting that because this is very clear. Everyone, this is not excluding anyone from this. We all must be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because we've all been in those situations where you feel like you were saying something, but maybe the listener didn't seem like they were too interested in what we were saying. Or maybe they were distracted by something else. Or maybe it's been the reverse. Maybe we were the one who were to be listening, but we were so quick to want to give our own opinion and our own thoughts and our own story and point of view that we didn't stop and really truly listen to what that other person had to say before we just blurted out what we had to say. And it's right here in the Bible in James chapter 1. Quick to listen, slow to speak. And that book talks about the value of not responding right away sometimes when someone tells you something. Sometimes just sitting there and listening and giving the person a moment to gather their thoughts. Maybe they were going to keep going with an idea, but not being so quick to just open our mouths and say something. And the Bible talks about us being wise in having wisdom over our tongue as well. One thing that I wanted to really emphasize was making sure that we are listening and we're not just listening and hearing someone's story without giving them feedback to let them know that we're listening, but we're really intently, wholeheartedly listening to what they have to say. It makes someone feel valued and heard, and it can make all the difference in that person's life. Also, another type of listening is being quick to listen to God. And I want to link that here to verse 22, where it says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. You're not deceiving anyone. You're certainly not deceiving God, that's for sure. You're only deceiving yourself if you don't listen to the word. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently, which is the important word here, intently, into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. And I have to say, I've been really guilty at this lately. I purposely took a break from this channel because I was finishing up school and my graduate degree, got my master's degree, which is super exciting. And coming down to the end, I just couldn't do it all. But I finished school at the end of September, and when I'm recording this, it's mid-November. So really, I feel like I should have gotten back to this so much sooner. And I felt like God was putting specific things on my heart as far as the channel goes. And I just was delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying. I was not being quick to listen. And it says it right here. We should be quick to listen. And part of that is doing what we hear when God speaks. It's one thing to listen to God, right? And I have this in my journal, and I felt like God was telling me, you're distracted. You're distracted. You need to really get focused here on what it is that I'm calling you to do. And I really was, very much so distracted. Life easily distracts us, right? Especially if we have responsibilities and work and kids and whatever else. But we have to stop and get rid of all those distractions and listen. Listen to God, most importantly. God is trying to talk to me, but I'm so distracted by all these other things that really are not nearly as important as what he's trying to say. So listening is great. And of course, we are encouraged to be quick to do so, but do not only listen and deceive yourself. Listening is just half of it. You have to do what it says and do it promptly, quick to listen, quick to obey. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and then forgets what he looks like. So you heard what God said, but then you just walked away, and you don't remember. So what value does it have if you listen but don't act on that? Going down here, to those who consider themselves religious yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues. Again, this ties really nicely back to the beginning of these verses in verse 19, where it says slow to speak. So we should be slow to speak. Keep a tight rein on our tongue. We should be busy listening and obeying God rather than being so quick to speak. But God, I'm this. But God, I'm, busy, or I am afraid, or I don't know if I want to do this. Obey and trust. There has never, ever been something in my life where God has asked me to do something. And maybe in the moment it is uncomfortable. And in that moment is painful. And it doesn't feel good. But then when I stop and look back at what God has asked me to do and go through, it has all been so good. Whether it is to mature me spiritually or, whatever it is that I had that growth in God. Part of being humble is not saying as much, being quick to listen, but slow to speak. And I feel like that's something that I've definitely tried to work on this year is just not saying anything, even if something is, I notice something, maybe I'm in a situation with other people and I notice something, you don't have to say everything that comes to your mind. You can just say nothing. And it takes a lot of discipline. In the end, it is so, so, so worth it. First, being quick to listen to God, first and foremost. Minimize and eliminate those distractions. We all have distractions. We all have responsibilities and things that we have to do. But we need to prioritize God and listen to him. Be quick to listen. Be quick to obey. And slow to speak. Being slow to speak can prevent us from saying things that we really shouldn't. Maybe sometimes it's hurtful because we're angry. And also, being quick to obey and keeping a tight rein on your tongue. Let me know what you learned as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to study the Bible with you again.